Yo, Dragon Ballers, real quick, I need to let you guys know about two events that are coming up soon, being hosted by PPG. All the info will be down in the description, but we have the Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fest from March 26th to the 27th. This is going to be the first ever event where they are trying out the sideboarded best-of-1 format. Besides that, it'll just be a celebration of the Dragon Ball Super Card Game, so you're not going to want to miss it. The other one is for organized play through the Pro Play Tour. We have the regional qualifier April 2nd in Kentucky. Shouts to the Midwest, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Shout out to PPG because they run awesome tournaments, but also besides that, this is the thing I've been concerned about in the past where these tournaments just don't get enough advertisement. So shout out to PPG for doing more and putting in more work to advertise these events. I hope to see you guys there. Let's get back into the video. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend. Today we'll be starting off the week of content talking about some organized play announcements made by Bandai on February 25th. So we'll be covering that. If you guys saw the ad that just ran right before I got into this video, you guys will have seen the information for the PPG events coming up, both Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fest and their regional that kind of just, goes into their own Pro Play Tour. That's their own kind of organized play system where you can win some pretty cool cash prizes at the end of it if you go to the Invitational, if you get invited and whatnot. But you can also win some cool stuff going to their regionals. So yeah, I want to cover that stuff in today's video because Bandai did make some announcements. They also revealed some championship pack promo cards, which are always a contentious point of conversation in the Dragon Ball Super community. So we will be covering those. I'll be giving my opinions as whether or not I think they're any good. So we'll be getting into that in today's video. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, many ways to do so down in the description. I really do appreciate all you guys that check out those links. But anyways, getting into this, again, you guys should know about the PPG events coming up because I talked about them earlier. But we also have the Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fest in Texas being hosted by Play TCG the week before the PPG one. So if you guys want to sign up, these links are here. I'll be posting this exact link to this page down in the description, so make sure to check that out. Unfortunately, I'm not sure by the time of you guys watching this if they're going to be sold out or not, but yeah, definitely check out the links to see if you can still sign up. These events have been out for a little while now, so they might be a little bit more full, but I know PPG was trying to get some more space for their events because things were selling out pretty quickly. But anyways, those are Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fest events. Now let's see what Bandai announced on the 25th. I'll have this link here as well, but this link's obviously a lot easier. You can see in the URL here. This is the official Facebook page for the Dragon Ball Super Card Game. So they made a post on the 25th saying, "Today we're excited to announce the first online events of the 2022 organized play season. 2022 OP will feature both online and offline events where they are safe to be held. We'll announce our full organized play schedule next week, but here is the breaking online regionals info and the Champ Pack 2022 Volume 1 cards." So cool, this week we should expect some more announcements for this. Maybe the day this goes live, actually, we can expect some announcements for this. But anyways, going off what they said in this post, Saturday, March 12th, there is an event for North America being hosted by Carta Magica. So links here. Again, I'll post this link up in the URL bar in the description if you guys want to check out these sign-up links. Anyways, then the next day on March 13th, another North American one being hosted by Core TCG. Then on Saturday, March 27th, there's a Latin America event. And then on April 2nd, there is an event for Europe being hosted by Card Market. So pretty cool. There's a good amount of regions that are getting online events. Hopefully, again, their announcement that maybe will be today, maybe later this week. Hopefully, that'll give us some more events for more of the regions so you guys can, play Dragon Ball Super to your heart's content. But this is what we have going on for now. I'll be really, really interested to see more of the IRL events, obviously in America, because that's where I live and that's where I play. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see what the IRL schedule looks like for organized play, because Dragon Ball Super Card Game Fests are awesome. I'm very, very excited about those, but they don't get you, an invite to nationals or anything like that. They're not really lending towards the official organized play season. Those are more so kind of like celebrations we had a few years ago where we just literally celebrated the life of the Dragon Ball Super Card Game, had a good time. The celebration events were actually really, really fun. But anyways, okay, we got through all this information. Now I want to talk about the TP promos, or I guess the Champ Pack promos coming out with these official online events. Just a little bit of preamble if you're new to the game or just not quite thinking about this going in. Champ Pack promos and kind of like promos in general, very, very controversial in Dragon Ball Super Card Game, and usually for good reason, because if they're really, really strong cards, it feels as if they're locked behind a paywall, because if they're really good, they're going to be really rare because not every player has the opportunity to participate in these events. Now, I guess one thing that actually fixes that is that these are online events, so it doesn't really matter where you live, how far you are from an event, because they're all accessible as long as you have, internet connection, right? So that definitely fixes one of these problems. But yeah, historically, when these cards have been very strong, they are very, very expensive upon release because they're a little bit more difficult to obtain. And that has actually held true even in more recent champ pack sets. Like, I think it was 2 champ packs ago, it's Mossy the Eliminator. That card was, let's just say it, severely broken. And on release, that card was $100 per copy. But they have, like, changed the philosophy a bit where they've gone and made these types of cards noticeably weaker, and it's probably mostly so that people don't get that feeling of these cards being trapped behind a paywall when they are too good. But it seems like in every bunch of champ pack promos, at least for the past couple, there's been one card in each that's really, really strong, and probably purposefully so. And that card's probably very expensive. But as more events happen and as the weeks go on, these things do typically tend to drop in price. So you might not be able to pick up the card for your select strategy immediately, but don't fear, because they'll probably get cheaper as the weeks go on and more events happen and more cards go into circulation, right? But anyways, just with that preamble out of the way, let's talk about Android 17 most valuable player, because that conversation is probably most relevant to this card, because this card seems very strong. Android 17 MVP, 2-drop 10k, activate main Sparking 5 for a red. If your leader card's a red U7 card and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, your leader card gains Invoker until the end of your next turn. So when we're looking at this card in a competitive light, we're looking at the red-blue Surge Goku leader that houses the Invoker strategy. Of course, there are a few other rogue decks you could play Invoker shells in, but when you're looking at 99% of Invoker decks, it's going to revolve around that leader, right? So with this card in relation to that leader, it does seem very, very strong. Now, here's the thing with that deck and actually using Invoker. Typically in the past, they've relied on the 3-drop Vegeta to just sit on the board. It's got Deflect and Barrier, and it just provides you Invoker. That's pretty much all it does besides the good protection that it has, right? So this card sort of fixes a few problems with Invoker. One of which being, if your opponent's able to remove your Barrier Vegeta and, you know, take away your Invoker, a lot of those extra cards are going to be just sitting at their full cost in your hand and essentially be dead. And of course, there are some select scenarios where you can untap a bunch of energy, like Beer Super Combo into Sensu Bean into Emperor's Death Beam and pay 3 for it. But you obviously want to avoid doing that. You want to be using that Emperor's Death Beam for 1. You want to be using that Sleepy Boy technique for 1. You don't really want to be paying their full cost. That's like the whole point of Invoker, right? So it fixes that problem of your opponent being able to kill your Vegeta. The other problem too is sometimes you don't actually have time to play your Vegeta safely, especially if you're up against an aggro matchup. A lot of times Invoker players will wait till turn 4 in like a mid-range or control matchup to play their Vegeta, and then, like, you know, try to stall their awaken as long as possible so they're not forced to get off their unawakened side, right? Against an aggro matchup, you don't really have that luxury. So this card fixes that problem as well, because for 1 energy, you get Invoker for 3 turns. Now, this is really important to mention here, so bear with me. If you guys saw my video from, I think, a week or 2 ago, where I talked about the new rulings coming out for set 16, there was a really giant jumbled mess of wording where some new Q&As came out, and Bandai mentioned that, or I guess the Q&As led us to believe that until the end of your next turn or your opponent's next turn, the meaning of that English phrase was being changed to mean the very next end phase of whatever turn it specifies. So this card, for example, saying until the end of your next turn, if you activated that during your current turn, the effect would stop lingering at that very same end phase of that same turn, because of how this ruling would cause things to be. And if that sounds completely confusing, and if I sound like an idiot because that makes no sense, that's because it was severely stupid. And it seems like, from what I've seen judges discussing and people talking about on these Facebook forums, it seems like Bandai's actually walking that back, like, you know, claiming they made a mistake or whatever. We'll have to wait for more official wording from them before the set comes out, which is actually pretty soon now. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to be aware of that, because that was a really dumb ruling that it seems like is not going to hold true, which is a good thing overall, because English has to mean what English means. Like, that's just how the card game has to work, right? So anyways, with that all out of the way, this is going to mean that this card gives your leader Invoker for 3 turns, which is honestly kind of wild, right? That is kind of wild. So there's a lot of upsides to this card. The one, like, sort of downside I could see is that you're going to need a U7 battle card in play to use one of your surge effects. And, you know, you're going to play a plethora of different U7 battle cards, right? Vegeta was kind of the one that you would just play, and he would usually stick to the board and never really get removed. So your surge effects were always live whenever you needed them. But I guess, like, when you start playing your boss monsters, you'll be able to make that effect live. But if your opponent has a counterplay that you wanted to pick out of their hand prior, you're not going to be able to do that, right, unless you have the U7 on board. So that could be a downside. I just wanted to point out some of the upsides and downsides of this card, because I've seen a lot of people talking about how broken this card is, and it is very, very strong, don't get me wrong, but that is like a minor downside. I'm not sure if Invoker is really going to take over the meta or not. What's interesting too is, like, there's not that many strategies that interact with your opponent's drop area, but you can play select few, like Machikabora, for example, or maybe even Salsa and Shroom, that can mess with your opponent's drop. So if Invoker becomes popular, those strategies can actually give this card you know, a big headache, right? So that's something cool to look at as well. Lots of talking points for this card, of course, but anyways, let's move on to the next promo. SS2 Kefla, Supreme Warrior of U6. We have a 7-drop 30k deflect, unique barrier, auto if you have 7 or more energy. When this card is played, it gains triple strike for the turn. So this card is meant to be played in the Kale ramp deck, and the fastest you can get to 7 energy is probably turn 4, but that's like if you're absolutely high rolling, seeing the nuts, right? Realistically, you're probably getting 7 energy around turn 5, I would say. And there is a way to cheat this card out through the Kefla Unison, but in my opinion, I mean, I posted a profile when this deck came out. I don't think that's the best way to play the deck. I think the best way is to just ramp and focus on the blue Unison, because that's the best blue Unison in the game. But there's another effect on the card that I do find kind of cool. Activate main once per turn, add up to 1 Kefla or Kale from your drop to your hand. So the earliest you can cheat this out means that you can just keep picking up Keflas and Kales from the drop and basically making your hand huge. That part about the card I do find pretty cool. The triple strike win condition sort of thing, not really, because it's just a blue battle card with triple strike. Like, your opponent will just negate the attack or block the attack, right? It's not going to be that threatening. So I think as a resource engine, this card's pretty cool, but I think it's pretty obvious, you know, this card compared to Android 17, the difference in power, right? Like, that card is probably the one they want people to show up for and collect. The rest of the cards in the pack probably going to be a little bit just more towards filler. But anyways, Planetary Manipulation. We have a new card coming out for the U6 Beerus and Champa strategies. So 1-drop counterattack, simple negate the attack, permanent. You can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost by placing 1 card from under a nameless planet in your battle area in the owner's drop area. Okay, so Nameless Planet in the U6 deck actually gives you an alternate win condition. I believe if you have 5 cards under it that belong to your opponent. So you can actually use those cards under the planet as a resource for this, for example, to gain an attack. That's kind of cool, I would say. Activate main, pay 3, choose 1, place up to 3 cards from under Nameless Planet in your battle area in their owner's drops. Then your opponent's cards equal to the number of cards you place in drop areas this way. So for paying 3, you can make your opponent pitch 3. That's sort of interesting. Look at your opponent's hand and play up to 1 battle card from it in your opponent's battle area in rest mode, and that can proc several of your effects that require you to attack and then KO something to do X, Y, or Z, right? So yeah, this card, again, very noticeably not that great. The free negate is kind of cool, but we already have Dorm Potential Unleashed and Homicidal Clones, so I don't think this card is better than either of those cards. And if you wanted to pay 3 to make your opponent pitch 3 and jump through a bunch of hoops, you just play Rebrand, pay 2, make them pitch 2. This card, definitely not going to be essential if you're looking forward to playing Beerus or Champa, in my opinion. Then we have Nail, Namekian Guardian. So this is actually a piece of support for a really old strategy, so this is kind of cool. 1-drop blocker, auto for 2 yellow. If your other card's yellow, when this card is KO'd, play up to 1 Piccolo fused with Nail from your deck, then shuffle your deck. If you played a card, place up 3 Namekians under it from your drop area. So I actually want to go over to DBS Deck Planet to check out this Piccolo that this card lets us go into. Shout out to DBS Deck Planet, best deck builder for the Dragon Ball Super card game, and incredible sponsor. Anyways, let's go over here. We're on their card database. So I think it was fused with Nail, right? So if we do that, let's see. Oh, this actually, yeah, this is a older SPR that actually has a pretty cool artwork. So, all right, 4-drop 20k double strike, activate main once per turn. This card gets plus 3,000 power for the duration of the turn for each Namekian under it, and the Nail, I believe, put 3 Namekians under it, so that would be a 29k, I believe. If there are 3 or more Namekians under this card gains barrier, so that's actually another automatic effect we'll get from Nail until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's energy and switch to rest mode. That card can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this is pretty cool, but again, like, I don't think that Nail is gonna make this card even a decent rogue engine. It just doesn't seem that feasible. Like, unfortunately, Namekians are one of the more underserved archetypes in this game, so hopefully in future sets we get more Namekian support. I know a lot of you guys are actually looking forward to that, so hopefully we do get more cool stuff for Namekians, but maybe this is just the start of a new yellow Piccolo engine. That would actually be pretty cool. But anyways, looking at the next card, we have Majin Buu Tricky Nemesis. Okay, so we have a 4-drop black Majin Buu, 15k. Permanent, if your leader card is a green Majin Buu, this card is green while in your deck and drop area. Now that's pretty cool. That's actually relevant because there is a Majin Buu chain for green that came out, I believe, in set 14 that can actually play a 4-drop Majin Buu from the deck. So this is actually going to work for that, which is nice. Activate main for 3. If your leader card is a green or black Majin card and you have 4 or more energy, play up to 1 green or black Majin Buu card with energy cost of 5 or 6 from your hand. Now that's pretty cool. Again, this is supporting the green deck that again came out in set 13 or 14, and then they have the set 9 black Majin Buu deck as well. So it's actually killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is cool. I do want to go to DBS Deck Planet again and look up these Majin Buu cards. So what I'll actually do here is I'll look up by card character, look up Majin Buu, because I think if I type in Majin Buu, it's probably gonna give me things from like the Buu Saga and whatnot. So if I know my alphabet, JKLM, Majin Buu, and then I want to look up cost 5 and 6. So let's see. So this is the green one we can play, right? So this is unadulterated destruction. When this card's played from your hand, does it play from hand? Let's see. From your hand. Okay, so this will get its effect and be cheated out. And that was actually the biggest problem with this card, was the fact that it really didn't have a way to be cheated out. For 5 energy in some decks, this card was kind of interesting, but for 3 energy, this card's actually a lot more attractive, which is kind of cool. And then it also plays with cost of 6. So there are these black Majin Buus cost of 5, but these are easy enough to play in the deck already. If we go to 6 costs, then we're able to cheat out our boss monsters for the black archetype. We have Majin Buu Supreme Evil, which is a floodgate type of card. Your opponent can't draw cards, and it also has the ability to be a triple strike win condition. But the main thing is, you know, stopping your opponent from drawing cards. Pretty similar to the Yellow Slug engine that's seeing a lot of play in the current meta. And then we have Diabolic Punisher, which punishes your opponent for playing battle cards greater than their energy costs. So that's pretty cool. So this card actually might be really cool to experiment with. I'm actually pretty excited about this one, but that looks like all the champ pack cards for this organized play season, at least for the first part of the organized play season. They usually go through I think 2 or 3 volumes of champ pack cards. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. These are my thoughts on the champ pack cards and just giving you guys some information about organized play coming up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Yo, Dragon Ballers, just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the video. Really do appreciate it. If you guys wouldn't mind subscribing, it would really help me out a lot.
Joey, are you doing another Dragon Ball video?
Yeah, obviously.
Dude, didn't you hear? As it stands, Digimon is kicking our ass.